Good evening. The Florida Department of Transportation welcomes you to the public hearing for the State Road 826 Palmetto Expressway Project Development and Environment Study between US 1 and Northwest 25th Street in Miami-Dade County, Florida. This hearing is for financial project identification number 432-639-1-22-02 and efficient transportation decision making number 14308. Si usted necesita traducción durante esta audiencia pública, por favor levanta su mano y un miembro de nuestro equipo le asistirá. The purpose of this hearing is to share information with the general public about the proposed improvements, its conceptual design, and the potential beneficial and adverse social, economic, and environmental effects upon the community. The public hearing also serves as an official forum, providing an opportunity for members of the public to express their opinions regarding the project. Today's public hearing has been broken down into 3 sessions. The first session is the formal presentation, which will explain the project purpose and need, preferred alternative, and potential impacts, both beneficial and adverse. The second session is the exhibits overview video, which will explain the project exhibits and how to navigate the website. The third session will be the formal comment period, where you will have the opportunity to provide oral statements or in writing. If you wish to make a comment, you can do so by completing one of the comment forms available at tonight's hearing. You may also provide oral statements by completing a speaker card. Those making oral statements will be called to the microphone in the order in which their speaker cards are received. Please include your full name and address with your comment. Oral statements will be limited to 3 minutes. All comments or questions received during tonight's formal comment period will be responded to at a later date after the 20-day comment period ends, except for those questions requiring a minor clarification. All comments provided will become part of the public hearing record, and all forms of comment received will carry equal weight. You may also email or mail your comments to the project manager. If you are participating virtually, questions and comments can be submitted using the GoToWebinar Questions tool at any time during the hearing. All comments or questions received during tonight's meeting will be responded to at a later date after the 20-day comment period ends, except for those questions requiring a minor clarification. Comments and questions submitted throughout the hearing will be acknowledged by the project team. We'll explain some of the GoToWebinar features that will help you participate in this meeting. On your computer or device screen, you should see something that looks like the image in the upper right corner. To listen to the meeting, your computer or device speakers are selected by default. If you prefer to listen by phone, select phone call in the audio pane of the control panel and dial in using the information displayed. All attendees will be placed in listen-only mode throughout the meeting. Comments and questions can be typed in the questions tool. If you happen to experience technical issues during the meeting, please type the issue in the questions tool on the control panel to report it, or simply call 1-800-418-0524. Staff will do their best to assist you. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on the project website after March 6th. This hearing was advertised consistent with federal and state requirements. The public notice for this hearing, including information on how to access it, was provided in letters to elected and appointed officials and to property owners and tenants in the project area. This hearing was posted in the Florida Administrative Register and the Miami Herald, in emails to persons on the project contact list, on social media feeds, and on the project website. Here with me tonight are the 2 PD&E study project managers, Raul Quintela, the project manager for the Florida Department of Transportation, and Ryan Solis-Rios, the consultant project manager with the Cordino Group. Together with the rest of the project team, they are the ones leading this study. At this time, we'd like to recognize any federal, state, county, or city officials. Please approach the microphone if you wish to make an oral statement. If attending virtually, please submit your name and who you represent in the questions tool, and if you would like to make an oral statement. Officials who wish to make an oral statement will be called on by the moderator. Are there any officials that would like to be recognized? Not online, but I see you there. Before we begin, oh yes, go ahead. No, you're fine. We thank you for joining us. Thank you. Okay, seeing no more, I think we can move on. Before we begin the formal presentation, we want to showcase the FDOT Compass, which highlights key focus areas for the state that are considered in every project. These focus areas are safety, workforce development, technology, robust supply chain, resiliency, and community at the center of the compass, as everything we do impacts communities we serve. This project focuses on all areas of the compass. We are now ready to begin the formal presentation.
The Florida Department of Transportation welcomes you to the public hearing for the State Road 826 Palmetto Expressway PD&E study from US 1 to Northwest 25th Street in Miami-Dade County, Florida. This public hearing is for Financial Project Identification Number 432639-1-22-02 and Efficient Transportation Decision-Making Number 14308. This public hearing was advertised consistent with the federal and state requirements shown on the slide. FDOT District 6 has conducted this environmental study in compliance with all applicable federal environmental laws and pursuant to 23 United States Code Section 327 and the Implementing Memorandum of Understanding between FDOT and the Federal Highway Administration, signed on May 26, 2022. The FDOT Office of Environmental Management in Tallahassee is the approving authority. Public participation at this public hearing is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns relative to FDOT compliance with Title VI may do so by contacting the FDOT Title VI representatives shown here. All inquiries or concerns will be handled according to FDOT procedure and in a prompt and courteous manner. Today's presentation will describe the study limits, the PD&E study process, the project's purpose and need, scope of the project, and our community involvement efforts. We will then explain the preferred alternative, the potential benefits and impacts associated with the proposed improvements, the project's schedule, and funding. The State Road 826 corridor project limits run from US 1 Dixie Highway to Northwest 25th Street, a total length of approximately 8.4 miles in Miami-Dade County, Florida. The study area includes 11 interchanges within unincorporated Miami-Dade County. The Project Development and Environment Study, or PD&E, is the second step in the project development process that the Florida Department of Transportation follows to ensure consideration of environmental impacts, social impacts, public input, engineering design, and project costs when evaluating a planned transportation improvement project. The PD&E process was established by the FDOT as the state's procedure for complying with the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, of 1969 and is required to secure federal approval and funding. The PD&E process is an integrated work effort involving engineering analysis and environmental evaluation, all accomplished within the context of a public participation plan. The purpose and need for a project provide the basis for developing, considering, evaluating, and eliminating project alternatives. The Palmetto Expressway widening project's purpose and need are to accommodate travel demands, enhance safety, improve system linkage, improve freight mobility, and enhance emergency response and evacuation. In terms of corridor traffic demand, the project traverses four major transportation planning areas, with population and employment growth estimated to increase between 12.5 and 64.5%. Concerning safety, the study area has experienced a greater overall number of crashes, with 4,729 crashes during a 5-year period. 56% of these crashes have been rear-end crashes. This segment of State Road 826 is the missing link that will provide continuous improvements along the corridor and enable better connectivity with other roadways between US 1 and I-95. The State Road 826 corridor carries over 10,000 freight trucks daily. Enhancing traffic conditions along this corridor would facilitate the movement and delivery of freight. State Road 826 serves as part of the emergency evacuation route network. State Road 826 is crucial in facilitating traffic movement during emergency evacuation periods as it connects to other major arterials and highways within the state's evacuation route network. State Road 826 between US 1 and State Road 874 consists of 5 to 6 travel lanes, 3 lanes in the northbound direction and 2 to 3 lanes in the southbound direction, with auxiliary lanes at select locations. Between State Road 874 and State Road 836, the corridor consists primarily of 12 travel lanes, 6 lanes in each direction. The State Road 826 corridor is designated as a strategic intermodal system facility, a national highway system route, and is part of the emergency evacuation route network. The scope of this PD&E study is to evaluate corridor improvements that will add highway and interchange lanes, modify interchange ramps, and enhance intersection improvements to improve the corridor's operations. The study is also evaluating the social, economic, physical, and environmental impacts associated with the potential improvements, all with the goal of identifying a preferred alternative. The PD&E study evaluated traffic operations with future projections for 2035 and 2055. Public meetings are to be held to involve the public, local officials, and interested agencies in the project development process. These public meetings provide updates on the project status and solicit input from the public. 5 public meetings have been held for this PD&E study. Today, we are holding the second public hearing. Small group meetings and one-on-one stakeholder meetings have been held with public officials and other stakeholders throughout the study. The intent of these meetings is to present the latest project information and to provide opportunities to discuss specific issues and/or concerns. Project newsletters and fact sheets have been prepared for the study and distributed at all the public meetings. A project website was developed for the project and includes all pertinent information about the PD&E study. The project website is another method used to allow the public to communicate with the project team and provide comments. The PD&E study divided the corridor into 2 sections based on the number of lanes. The first section is between US 1 and State Road 874, and the second section is between State Road 874 and State Road 836. The study evaluated 4 corridor alternatives: Alternatives 1, 3, 4, and 4A. Alternative 2 was eliminated earlier from the study. The alternative analysis also included a no-build alternative that maintains the existing roadway configuration. Alternative 1 adds 1 additional travel lane in each direction between US 1 and State Road 836. Alternative 3 adds one untolled managed lane in each direction between US 1 and State Road 836. Alternative 4 adds one additional travel lane in each direction between US 1 and State Road 874 and adds one express lane in each direction between State Road 874 and State Road 836. This alternative basically extends the existing State Road 826 express lanes south to State Road 874. Alternative 4A adds one additional travel lane in each direction between US 1 and State Road 836 and adds one express lane in each direction between State Road 874 and State Road 836, similar to Alternative 4. An alternatives evaluation matrix was developed to compare the alternatives. The evaluation focused on engineering, socioeconomic, environmental, and project cost. Each variable or parameter was ranked on a scale of 1 through 4, with 1 being the best alternative. The rankings were added at the end of the evaluation matrix. The alternative with the lowest total is considered the best alternative. In this study, alternative 4A had the lowest score. Therefore, it was selected as the preferred alternative. This schematic line diagram illustrates the preferred alternative. North is to the right. The orange lines show the extension of the express lanes south to State Road 874. The blue lines are the additional travel lanes. To enter and exit the express lanes, the preferred alternative includes 2 access points in the southbound direction and 4 in the northbound direction. One key feature of the preferred alternative is that it proposes an express lane connection to State Road 874 to and from the north. This connection will serve the number 1 origin and destination traffic pattern along State Road 826 traveling between State Road 874 and State Road 836 east. This connection moves approximately 1,100 vehicles southbound and 1,700 vehicles northbound out of the non-tolled travel lanes into the express lanes. This traffic shift reduces weaving and lane changing, providing congestion relief and safer operating conditions along the corridor. The preferred alternative also proposes interchange and intersection improvements at 10 of the 11 interchanges. The interchange improvements will vary from minor to major capacity enhancements. The major interchange improvements are proposed at Bird Road, Flagler Street, Southwest 8th Street, and State Road 836. At Bird Road, the PD&E study proposes reconfiguring the existing interchange to a U-turn elevated interchange concept. The U-turn concept is an innovative design that eliminates left turn movements at the ramp terminals and replaces them with right turn movements. If you are traveling northbound on State Road 826, you will exit at Bird Road the same way you do today. You will continue to the right if your destination is Bird Road East. If your destination is Bird Road West, you will continue traveling north over Bird Road and follow the elevated U-turn ramp, which will take you to the west side of the interchange, where you will be turning right at the ramp terminal to continue west on Bird Road. If you are traveling southbound on State Road 826, you will exit at Bird Road the same way you do today. You will continue to the right if your destination is Bird Road West. If your destination is Bird Road East, you will continue traveling south over Bird Road and follow the elevated U-turn ramp, which will take you to the east side of the interchange, where you will be turning right at the ramp terminal to continue east on Bird Road. This interchange design eliminates a traffic phase from the ramp terminal intersections with more green time to share with other movements. This interchange configuration enhances the operations of both State Road 826 and Bird Road, achieving an acceptable level of service and facilitating the processing of more vehicles through the intersections. Today, State Road 826 has a southbound collector-distributor roadway system between State Road 836 and Flagler Street. A collector-distributor roadway system, or better known as a CD system, separates local traffic and interchange traffic from the main line, reducing merging and lane changing by moving vehicles away from the high-speed traffic. The preferred alternative is proposing to add an additional lane to the CD system, extend it to Southwest 8th Street, and provide a physical separation from the State Road 826 main line southbound lanes. The CD system will serve traffic to Flagler Street, from Flagler Street to Southwest 8th Street westbound, and to Southwest 8th Street eastbound. The CD system will merge with State Road 826 after the Southwest 8th Street off-ramps. The other major interchange improvement is at State Road 836. The preferred alternative is proposing a ramp flyover that connects the State Road 826 northbound express lane from the median to State Road 836 eastbound. This ramp will help alleviate the current and future traffic congestion along the northbound lanes of State Road 826 between Coral Way and State Road 836. The traffic volume between State Road 826 northbound and State Road 836 eastbound is very high. This new ramp will help redistribute the volume in conjunction with the existing ramp, improving the operations of the State Road 826 northbound lanes approaching State Road 836. The preferred alternative will meet the purpose and need of this project, which is to add lanes to meet future transportation demand, improve interchange operations, and enhance safety. From the roadway geometry perspective, the preferred alternative will enhance the southbound CD system between State Road 836 and Southwest 8th Street. It will add the appropriate interchange and intersection improvements to optimize the operations of the corridor. New and updated drainage stormwater systems will be designed to address water quantity and water quality. From the traffic operations perspective, the preferred alternative will reduce corridor travel times and increase travel speeds. The preferred alternative will improve local and regional mobility with the additional lanes and the extension of the express lanes south to State Road 874. The express lanes will separate short and long trips, providing choices for travelers. The additional lanes will move and process more traffic along the corridor. Express lanes will operate at 55 miles per hour, providing a reliable system. The operations between State Road 826 and the interchanges will improve significantly by reducing the number of weaving movements, increasing the mainline speeds, and reducing speed differentials between the State Road 826 mainline and ramps. Safety is improved by reducing the total number of crashes related to heavy congestion and weaving maneuvers, by providing more off-ramp storage when exiting State Road 826, by eliminating off-ramp spillovers onto State Road 826 mainline, and by upgrading the intelligent transportation system and lighting along the corridor. The additional lanes will make the corridor more effective during emergency evacuations and emergency response. There are 72 existing bridges and 2 culverts within the study limits. The preferred alternative includes 7 proposed new bridges, 14 proposed bridge replacements, 16 proposed bridge widenings, 3 proposed new culverts, and 1 proposed culvert widening. The corridor has 22 drainage systems. All systems will be enhanced to accommodate the stormwater runoff from the roadway improvements. No new right-of-way is anticipated at this time, solely for drainage. The stormwater management systems proposed in this study will meet existing water quality and quantity standards. Discharge attenuation requirements will be met as required by the South Florida Water Management District. The right-of-way acquisition is anticipated for this project. The estimated right-of-way cost was generated based on the proposed conceptual design plans. Within the study area, 77 parcel properties are anticipated to be impacted by this project. The estimated right-of-way cost is approximately $155 million. All right-of-way acquisition will be conducted in accordance with Florida Statutes 339.09 and 421.55, as well as the Federal Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970, commonly known as the Uniform Act. Right-of-way specialists who are supervising this program are here tonight and will be happy to answer your questions. As part of the PD&E study, FDOT evaluated the potential social, physical, natural, and cultural effects of the proposed project. These listed features are just some of the types of analysis included in this study. Avoidance and/or minimizing impacts to these features is a key consideration. Impacts that cannot be avoided will be mitigated. The social and economic evaluations determined that relocation impacts will occur with residential and commercial properties. The proposed project will enhance safety, emergency evacuation, and mobility. There will be a limited reduction in taxable land due to the relocations. The additional lanes will improve and support freight movement through the project area. The proposed improvements will enhance multimodal access and regional network connectivity. There is potential to increase visual awareness of the roadway corridor with the addition of elevated ramps, lanes, and noise walls. Cultural resource assessment surveys were conducted in 2019, 2024, and 2026 in compliance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966. The surveys identified 7 historic resources considered eligible for listing in the National Register. The State Historic Preservation Officer concurred with the survey findings. As part of the Section 106 process and the next steps, it is anticipated that there will be no adverse effects on the 7 National Register eligible resources based on the preferred alternative proposed improvements. 4 archaeological sites were identified by the surveys. The State Historic Preservation Officer has not evaluated the National Register eligibility of these sites. However, previous construction projects in the immediate area have been monitored by professional archaeologists, and the sites are known to be heavily disturbed if not destroyed. An unanticipated finds plan will be prepared for the project during the design phase for implementation during construction. No adverse impacts to archaeological resources are anticipated as a result of the project, contingent upon archaeological monitoring during construction. The project has no Section 4F involvement for recreational resources, as the preferred alternative avoided impacts to all parks. A state historic highway was identified within the study limits. Sunset Drive between Southwest 69th Avenue and Southwest 87th Avenue. The designated segment will be affected by the need to enhance traffic safety given its high crash rates. The proposed improvements have been coordinated through the State Historic Preservation Officer to ensure compliance with state law. A community engagement meeting was held in October 2024 regarding the proposed improvements along Sunset Drive to gather feedback from local residents and corridor users. 10 federally listed animal species and 3 federally listed plant species were identified to occur within the project limits. The project will not adversely affect federally designated critical habitats. No adverse effects are anticipated on any state-listed animal and plant species identified within the project limits. Viable vegetated wetland habitat does not exist within the project limits. However, 34 stormwater detention retention features and 8 surface waters were identified. The impacts to these surface water features are anticipated to be compensated by constructing a new stormwater management system for the project. No adverse impacts to water quality downstream of the construction area are anticipated. A traffic noise study was conducted to assess potential traffic noise impacts associated with the project and to evaluate the feasibility and reasonableness of installing noise barriers as an abatement measure at the impacted sites. The noise study was performed in accordance with the state and federal regulations and guidelines. The traffic noise study process includes several steps. One of the initial steps is to identify the location of noise-sensitive sites along the project corridor that include residential units, schools, parks, places of worship, cemeteries, hotel pools, restaurants, and medical facilities. The next steps include predicting traffic noise levels for the existing conditions and the future no-build and preferred alternatives using the Federal Highway Administration's traffic noise model and determining traffic noise impacts. For all the impacted sites, noise barriers were evaluated as an abatement measure. Any modifications to or the replacement of any existing noise barriers physically impacted by the project were also evaluated. Public input on the noise barrier recommendations will be solicited during this and future project phases. The methodology and results of the study, including the noise barrier recommendations, are summarized in the noise study report. Traffic noise impacts are predicted to occur at 818 residences and 13 non-residential sites. Noise walls were evaluated at 24 locations. 13 were recommended for further consideration in the project design phase. Final decisions to construct noise barriers are made during the design phase following public input on their support for the proposed barriers. The remaining 11 locations were not recommended for further consideration for the following reasons. Construction costs for these noise walls were determined to exceed the FDOT's reasonable cost criteria of $42,000 per benefited site, or it was not possible to reduce the noise levels by at least 7 decibels in accordance with the FDOT's noise level reduction criteria, or noise barriers would block direct property access. Please note that some existing noise barriers may be replaced with new ones to accommodate the proposed improvements. A noise study report is available for public review, documenting these findings and recommendations. This map shows the approximate locations of the 13 noise barriers recommended during the PD&E study. The recommended noise barriers along the project corridor are identified as solid pink lines, representing 14-foot tall shoulder-mounted noise barriers, and dashed pink lines representing 8-foot tall shoulder-mounted noise barriers. The existing noise barriers that will remain are shown in blue. These noise barriers are subject to change and will be further evaluated during the design phase. Additional information on the recommended and non-recommended noise barriers is documented in the noise study report. 56 sites of potential environmental concern were identified along the project corridor. 8 sites are rated as high risk, 16 sites are rated as medium risk, 31 sites are rated as low risk, and 1 site is rated at no risk. The contaminants of concern for the high-risk and medium-risk sites include dry cleaning solvents and petroleum. A Level 2 contamination assessment is recommended during the project design phase for the high and medium risks prior to the right-of-way acquisition. The project is anticipated to cause no significant impacts to air quality. The project area is designated as attainment for meeting the Environmental Protection Agency's National Ambient Air Quality Standards for air pollutants. Therefore, the Clean Air Act conformity requirements do not apply to this project. The proposed project will require permits from the United States Army Corps of Engineers, South Florida Water Management District, Miami-Dade County, and Florida Department of Environmental Protection. The PD&E study developed a preliminary total project cost estimate for the preferred alternative. The estimated construction cost was generated using the FDOT Long Range Estimate Cost Estimating System. The project cost estimate includes the major cost components typically associated with highway construction and right-of-way acquisition. The preliminary total project cost estimate for the preferred alternative is approximately $1.52 billion. Today, you are attending the public hearing. The PD&E study is anticipated to be completed by June 2026. Over the next several months, FDOT will continue to finalize the analysis and seek approval after the public hearing. Following approval, FDOT will continue with the design phase in fiscal year 2027. As of today, right-of-way is partially funded and construction is unfunded. Your input is essential to the PD&E study process. We continue to encourage public input to help us make this important decision. For today's hearing, your comments and/or questions can be provided in 4 ways. If you are participating virtually, you can submit questions and comments using the GoToWebinar Questions tool. If you have a question or comment that you would like to ask live, you can be called on to speak by clicking the Raise Hand button. If you're participating in person, you will have the opportunity to fill out a comment card or ask a question by filling out a speaker card and coming up front by the microphone. Please raise your hand if you would like a speaker card. You could also email your questions or comments to the FDOT Project Manager. You may also mail written questions or comments to the FDOT Project Manager at the address shown. Or you may simply submit questions or comments on the project website. While written comments and questions are accepted at any time, we ask that you provide comments you may have in connection with this hearing by March 23rd to become part of the public hearing record. Outside the public comment period for the hearing, the department welcomes comments regarding the project at any time. The next step with the study is to incorporate your input on this public hearing into our decision-making process. After the comment period closes and your input has been considered, a decision will be made and the final PD&E study document will be approved. This project has complied with and will continue to comply with all applicable state and federal rules and regulations. The final PD&E study documents will be sent to the FDOT Office of Environmental Management in Tallahassee. Based on the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the Federal Highway Administration, the office has approval authority on this project, granting location and design concept acceptance. The PD&E study documents and reports have been available for review to the public since Monday, February 9, 2026 at the Westchester Regional Library. The documents will continue to be on display through March 23, 2026. For more detailed information about the PD&E study and the proposed improvements, you may review the maps, drawings, and other information on display immediately following the hearing. FDOT personnel will continue to be available to discuss the project and answer your questions. Draft documents and public hearing exhibits are also available on the project website. Thank you for your interest in the State Road 826 Palmetto Expressway widening PD&E study. This concludes our formal presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for participating in the project presentation session. You will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide comments about the presentation during the comment period after the exhibits overview video session. We will now begin the exhibits overview video session of the hearing.
Welcome to the State Road 826 Palmetto Expressway PD&E Study Public Hearing. 12 exhibits were prepared for this hearing to present additional detailed information about the project and the PD&E study. These exhibits can be viewed and downloaded from the project website at www.southflroads.com/826 Express South. Once on the website, scroll down to the Archive Documents and click the 2026 Public Hearing link to view the list of exhibits. The first exhibit is the Project Study Area. This exhibit depicts the project study area extending from US 1 Dixie Highway to Northwest 25th Street, including the corridor interchanges and the surrounding municipalities. The project total length is approximately 8.4 miles in Miami-Dade County. The next exhibit is the PD&E study process, which outlines the process itself. The basic steps of a PD&E study include data collection, development and analysis of alternatives, development of project documents, and final approval. Needs of the project. This exhibit summarizes the project's purpose and needs, as well as the 9 corridor areas that currently do not meet the necessary conditions for optimal operation. Existing environmental features. This figure delineates and locates all the known environmental features within the study area. This figure covers 10 areas: canals crossing the corridor, known contaminated sites near the project corridor, brownfields within a quarter mile of the study area, Miami-Dade County parks next to the study limits, critical habitat of selective species, cultural centers within a quarter mile of the study area, environmentally endangered lands, existing noise barriers, state historic structures immediately adjacent to the project limits, and natural resources including wetlands, surface waters, and stormwater drainage features. No-build alternative conditions. This exhibit shows how the corridor will operate in the future if no improvements are made within the study area. Without improvements, the project corridor will continue to experience high traffic delays and will continue to operate at level of service F by the design year 2055. FDOT recommends a target level of service D for roadways in urban areas. Therefore, a level of service D or better is considered an acceptable level of service. The description of different levels of service can be found on the right-hand side of this exhibit. State Road 826 roadway typical sections. This exhibit illustrates the number of lanes, the dimensions of all roadway elements, and the striping for each alternative considered in this PD&E study, including existing conditions. The project limits were divided into 2 sections based on the number of lanes, between US 1 and State Road 874 and between State Road 874 and State Road 836. Alternative 4A was recommended as the preferred alternative. This exhibit is the alternatives evaluation matrix used to select the preferred alternative. The top of the matrix lists the alternatives considered, and the left lists the variables and parameters used to compare them. The center of the matrix documents the comparison of each alternative, and the right columns list the ranking of the best build alternative. Express lane access points. These schematic line diagrams illustrate the existing and preferred alternative new access points for entering and exiting the express lanes. North is up. This exhibit includes 2 figures. On the left is the schematic line diagram illustrating today's express lanes access points along State Road 826 between US 1 and Interstate 75. FDOT recently opened express lanes along State Road 826 between State Road 836 and I-75, as shown in orange and yellow. In this figure, you will see the express lane access points serving this section of State Road 826, 4 access points northbound and 5 access points southbound. On the right is the schematic line diagram for the preferred alternative depicting the access points. Express lane system in orange and new non-tolled lanes in blue. Preferred alternative roll plot. This exhibit depicts the preferred alternative conceptual design. The roll plot divides the project limits into 2 segments. The top segment is from US 1 to north of Bird Road, and the bottom segment is from north of Bird Road to north of Northwest 25th Street. In this roll plot, north is to the right. On the left-hand side of the exhibit, you will find a legend defining each color and line shown on the roll plot. In this exhibit, you can see the black shape depicting the footprint of the proposed improvements. The gray shapes are bridges along the corridor. You also find in this roll plot the roadway cross-section between interchanges depicting the number of lanes, the dimensions of all roadway elements, and the amount of widening necessary to accommodate the additional lanes. The top section is the existing roadway condition, and the bottom section is the proposed roadway condition. If you zoom in on the interchanges, you will see the proposed improvements at each interchange, as well as the intersection improvements 1 or 2 intersections downstream from the ramp terminals. Right-of-way impacts are necessary at select locations along the corridor. Areas with yellow lines indicate the right-of-way needs to accommodate the proposed improvements. This roll plot also shows the approximate locations of the noise barriers recommended for further consideration during the project's design phase. Preferred alternative traffic conditions. This exhibit shows how the corridor will operate with the proposed corridor improvements. With the improvements, the project corridor improves the level of service, increases travel speeds, and eliminates traffic congestion at the interchanges. A description of the different levels of service can be found on the right-hand side of this exhibit. Preferred alternative benefits. This exhibit summarizes the proposed improvements' benefits in relation to roadway geometry, traffic operations, and corridor safety. Project schedule. This exhibit lists the next milestones of the PD&E study, the beginning of the design phase, and the funding information to date. A public hearing fact sheet is also available for download on the project website. The fact sheet summarizes the study's highlights to date. Page 1 includes a summary of the project background, purpose and need, alternatives analysis, schedule, and contact information. Page 2 illustrates the alternative roadway cross-sections. The PD&E study documents and reports are also available for public review on the project website, on the same page as the exhibits under Archived Documents. Simply find the document and click to open it. This concludes our video presentation. Thank you for attending tonight's public hearing.
Thank you for watching the overview of exhibits video session. We will now begin the comment period session of the hearing. For today's meeting, your comments and/or questions can be provided in 4 ways. If you are participating virtually, questions and comments can be submitted using the GoToWebinar questions tool. If you have a question that you would like to ask live or a comment, you can be called to speak on by clicking on the raise hand button. If you are participating in person, you will have the opportunity to fill out a comment card or ask a question by filling out a speaker card and coming up front by the microphone. Please raise your hand if you would like a speaker card. You could also email your questions or comments to the FDOT project manager. You may mail written questions or comments to the FDOT project manager at the address shown, or you may simply submit questions and comments on the project website. All comments and/or questions received tonight will be responded to at a later date after the 20-day comment period ends, except for those questions requiring a minor clarification. We will begin with any questions or comments from the in-person participants who have filled out a speaker card. When you are called, please state your name and address before making your comment. If you represent an organization, municipality, or any other public body, please provide that information as well. We may ask that you limit your input to 3 minutes. If you have additional comments, you may continue after other people have had the opportunity to comment. Please note that we will not respond to your comments or questions today, but will do so in writing at a later date. Does anyone have the desire to speak? Don't know if we've given out any comment cards, but we do have 2 raised hands online. I'll go with the first, Isabel, and I apologize if I don't say your name perfectly, Charbonnier. I'm going to, all right, you are self-muted, but I've unmuted you. Charbonnier, if you'd like to make a statement or ask a question, you are unmuted. Okay, I'm going to move on then to Jose Paneda. I'm going to unmute you. Mr. Paneda, you are unmuted on my end, but you are self-muted.
Okay, can you hear me now? Great.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Jose Paneda, 7790 Southwest 68th Terrace. I live in the Glenbar Heights neighborhood. I spoke at the first meeting and would like to repeat my comments from that meeting. We went through this expansion 15 years ago, and we were vehemently opposed to another expansion of 826 specifically between Miller Road and US 1. You can expand as many lanes as you want. It will have no effect, especially heading south. Once you hit US 1, the bottleneck begins, and there's no solution there because of traffic lights, and especially with a new busway, there's just no way that so many cars can exit at a certain time. Expanding lanes in this corridor will only create more of a parking lot. We now live in a community where there is too much density, and we're not going to, like I said, we now live in a community where there's too much density and there are too many vehicles. We need to live with this reality. Some of your upgrades may make sense, but not the Miller to US 1 corridor. Also, it looks like, as in the past, the residents in this corridor are not going to get a higher noise wall, although we proportionally pay the same or more taxes than those receiving the higher noise walls. Maybe the reasoning or your ways of seeing which are way the noise walls are acceptable or not need to be changed, because we think that that's totally unfair. Please save us some tax money and the noise, dust, and pollution that comes with this proposed expansion, especially in that corridor between Miller Road and US 1. And I will also like to add, and thank you for your time, about these noise studies that were done. I would like to have somebody, follow up with me on that and put a noise device during our houses in our homes and see what the erection is, again, with the low noise barriers that were placed 12 years ago there. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pineda. We appreciate your comment. Isabel Charbonnier, you have 2 hands up now, so I'm going to try maybe doing this again.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm Isabel Charbonnier. I live on 7724 Southwest 34th Terrace. My concern is with this expansion, are you guys gonna knock more houses down? Or it's just extending where the wall is? That
We are going to be acquiring additional right away with this expansion, but if you want to provide us with your address, we can let you know if your property is going to be affected or not. But we could do that on the site.
So that's definitely good.
okay. So I could send you my address, an email, or
Yeah, send it. Put it in the. How are we doing? Put
In
it
the question, you can put it in the questions tool on the GoToWebinar. You can write as a comment, write your address, and then they can get back to you at a later date.
okay, thank you.
Anyone here would like to speak? You want me to read out loud? Okay. We have. So one is similar to the question that was just asked. Will the preferred alternative also require knocking down? Well, that's a specific question. Understand the right-of-way acquisition phase comes after fiscal year 2027. When is that residents will be affected and have to begin plans to leave that area? And then,
I'm gonna answer that one. Currently, the project is unfunded for construction, so we wouldn't know at this time when actual construction is going to happen there. The design phase is funded for next year, but as far as construction and right-of-way acquisition, we don't at this time we cannot define the starting date for that.
and then the second question we have here on the questions tool is, good afternoon. Thank you for this informative webinar. Are the 77 parcels that fall under right-of-way acquisition documented and available?
Yes, we have documentation of that. So if you would like to request specifically the location, or if you want to see those, you need to request that to the project manager. And you can do that by putting that request in the questions tool, and we can follow with you and have a meeting one-on-one.
Thank you, Ryan. We do have a question from Nicholas Lopez that's very specific on his actual property. So just Nicholas, our team will look at that and get back to you at a later date. Is there anyone else that would like to make a statement or ask a question live? Okay. All right, we will be around to answer any questions along the boards. It is now 6:59 p.m. Thank you for attending this public hearing and for providing your input on this project. I hereby officially close this hearing for the State Road 826 PD&E study. Thank you again and have a good night.